Welcome back, everyone. We have another really fun episode of the podcast today. This is Indy Reads Aloud. And today, Randy D. Pearson, who lives on the west side of Michigan, is coming to join us, and he's going to read for us today. Randy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Me and Betsy. Yeah, thank you.
Such a cute
Thanks.
little kitty.
Oh, yeah, she's fun. She'll walk all over me during this whole thing. It'll be great.
We are fur friendly here, so she's more than welcome.
Awesome.
For those of you who don't know Randy, he has been displaying his creativity for as long as he can remember, starting in an early age drawing comic strips and cartoon books. He quickly realized he enjoyed writing stories more than he did sketching. When he discovered his other childhood passion, the Atari computer, I remember those days, everything came together. He spent many late nights typing stories, winning several writing contests in the process. His writing kicked into high gear in 2007 when he became a member of Writing at the Ledges. That's Grand Ledge near Lansing, right?
Yep, correct. Yeah.
I used to rock climb there.
Oh, yeah. Many people have.
Super fun.
Oh, yeah.
So this writing group helped Randy turn his interesting ideas into well-crafted works of fiction. Since then, Randy's writing has been featured in several publications, including the Washington Square Review, Pets Across America, Small Towns, A Map in Words, Seasons of Life, Voices from the Ledges, Promptly Speaking, Fiction 440 Volume 1, and Retrocade Magazine. That's a really long CV. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's really awesome. How many books have you published now?
Just published number 5.
That's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's funny talking to people. Usually it's like when you have one book, they're like, oh, you wrote a book. 2 books, oh, you wrote a couple books. Once they hit 3, it's like, oh, you've written 3. And now people are like, 5? You've written 5 books? Yeah, just, got these weird ideas.
I get similar books. I get similar looks from people when I tell them I've written 11, and they say, what, 11? How could you? Yeah. So I understand that, but it's super fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with being afflicted with the writing disease. How about you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because these weird ideas stay in my head and they don't go away unless I write them. They don't even necessarily go away after I've written them. But like as an example, Off-Worlding has been in my head for over 30 years.
And you just recently decided to put it on paper?
Yeah, well, the weird thing is that because for the longest time I had writer's ADD, I could never come back to a long story enough times to finish it. So I started writing. You mentioned the Atari 800 computer.
Mm-hmm.
This story, I found a version of Off-Worlding when it was still called Vacation from Reality that I wrote for several chapters. That was probably 1980. No, so that would have been 92, 91. Saved on a 5 1/4-inch floppy disk.
Oh my gosh, that was a long time ago.
And I transferred it over the years. I've transferred it over to different computers. I went to the Atari ST, made it to a 3 1/2-inch floppy, and now it's on the PC. I mean, it's obviously I couldn't use it. I mean, it was 30 years ago. My writing is kind of a little better since then.
Well,
but
let's hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it was just nice though. I just realized I finally got to the point where I could sit down and write the same story over and over again until it was done. And now I'm excited. I love these characters. I'm curious to see where they go from here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear this. This is the latest addition to your catalog, so I'm really interested in learning more about it. So this is Off-Worlding. It is humorous science fiction. Can you give us a quick synopsis of the book before you read?
Yeah. So the basic premise here, it's a story of a human named Alex and 2 aliens named Hathiant and Grum. So for Alex, this is an adventure story. When this lime green spaceship flies down, saves his life, like the aliens save his life, and then invite him on board to explore the galaxy. And how can he say no to that?
Right.
So for Hathiant, this is a redemption story. He's trying to make amends for a terrible mistake he made a decade earlier. For Grum, he just wants to be entertained. So if this human isn't entertaining enough, he's just going to keep go back to watching our Earth broadcasts.
Okay, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Wow. I am so looking forward to this. When you are ready, Randy, please take the microphone and read aloud.
All righty. So we are going to start at the beginning of this one. I feel like that's a pretty good place to start. So
Usually
this is
is.
chapter 1. I can show you. Will it come up? Oh yeah, there's the book right there.
Yay!
Anyway, all right. All right. Chapter 1. Grum slithered into the control room, his lower half swishing silently along the floor of the spaceship. Geez, Hathian, are you seriously watching that boring human again? When he noticed his amorphosine partner's coloring, he added, "You all right?" Hathian's normally lime green skin had taken on an olive hue as he stared at the scene in front of him. Alex Dandridge is having an awful month. Sucks to be him, I guess, said Grum. Moving up to the control panel, Grum switched to the display. Instead of Alex, the screen now showed two evening gown clad women wearing far too much makeup. They waggled their fingers at one another as they shouted and scowled. A smile enveloped Grum's face. If you want to watch humans, I suggest The Real Housewives of Scranton. These females yell at each other constantly. I love it when they tell one another to calm down. Apparently, you can't actually make a human calm down by uttering that phrase. Who knew? Without a word, Hathian re-engaged the view screen display to Alex. Hey, huffed Grum, I was watching that. They were about to start throwing things. That's the best part. If nothing else, at least turn off the viewer and check out the view. Gesturing out the spaceship's all-encompassing front window, he continued, I mean, we're 22,000 miles above this bizarre little planet. From here, the blues and greens are rather pleasing. Their moon is glowing bright over yonder. I get such delight out of watching the ludicrous amount of space junk and satellites as they bounce into one another. Sometimes they even fall to Earth. Re-entry burn, baby. As Hathian's color darkened slightly, Grum shook his head. I just don't get your fixation, Hath. In this month, Hathian replied, Alex's mate disengaged with him. Then his current vocation ended. Then, interrupting, Grum asked, his what? Vocation? Remember, this culture uses currency to purchase items. He had what they refer to as a job, selling their idea of food to other humans. But the owner of this establishment revoked this privilege, so now he has no currency. Grum stuck his tongue out. Ew, I can't believe the stuff they consume. What they consider to be edible baffles my mind. I once watched this guy eat a thing called a triple cheeseburger. If only they knew it was in a special sauce. He slid closer to the view screen and pointed with one of his two-fingered hands. Didn't he used to live in a much larger building? That is his automobile. He was also evicted from his domicile because of the job loss. He is currently residing in his ground-based transportation. Ah, that can't be fun. Grum was silent for a moment. I don't understand why you care. Please don't tell me you still blame yourself. It happened over a decade ago. Hathian's color deepened to a dark forest green. Grum quickly added, Sorry, I didn't mean to add to your depression, but you really got to move on with your life. Hathian vehemently shook his head. I just feel so sorry for him. I wish I could do something to help. Giving himself a whole body wiggle from his tail to the top of his head, he took a deep breath. His color eased to a lighter hue. Oh, come on, man. Alex Dandridge whined into his phone as he ran a hand through his messy blonde hair. You gotta let Tulsa and me crash with you. We literally got no other place to go. It's getting dark and it's been snowing all day. You're not gonna make us sleep in my car in this frigid Michigan wasteland, are you? After a moment's hesitation, Monty replied, I'm sorry, Alex. We don't have the room. And your wife hates me. Monty sighed. Mary doesn't hate you exactly. She's just a little funny is all. Uh-huh. Everybody's funny. Now you're funny too. Seriously, haven't I apologized enough for that one time I drank all your beer and slept in her flower garden? You always drink all the beer, but the daisies never did bloom again after that night. Regardless, I just can't help you. I'm sorry, bud. Stay warm. Monty hung up before Alex could say anything else. Alex looked down at his lap and sighed. Ah, well, Tulsa, looks like we're sleeping here tonight. He ran his hand along his cat's orange and white body. And maybe for a while, at least until spring, when we can sleep in that woman's flower bed again. It was amazingly comfy. Hold on, sweetie. He started his pre-millennium forest green Saturn. When Tulsa's body stiffened, he continued to gently stroke her. Alex glanced at the fuel gauge and frowned. I don't even know if we have enough gas to run the heater all night. Putting the car in gear, he carefully backed out of the parking lot, then released another sigh. Let's go visit Mom and Dad. Racing along the slick country road, porch lights were few and far between. Alex could see the massive ancient oak tree looming in the distance, directly in front of the sharp right-hand curve. As he approached the tree, he looked out at the spot where his parents crashed their car and died. The bark never had grown back. Hi, folks, he said softly. I'm home. A deer dashed across the road, missing his front bumper by inches. Instinct made him slam on the brakes. The Saturn's nearly bald tires gave no traction on the slippery street as the oak tree grew menacingly closer. Though he should have been scared, Alex felt a calm wash over him. Looks like I'll get to see my parents again, he thought, and much sooner than I expected. The mighty oak tree filled his windshield as he braced for impact. Hathian's eyes widened, his hue instantly transforming into tea green. He's going to hit that tree! Grum moved closer to the screen. Well, this should be interesting. I've only seen these kind of crashes on their TV shows. Moving quickly, Hathian engaged the forward thrusters. As the spaceship shot toward the Earth's atmosphere, Grum looked over at him. What are you doing? By way of response, Hathian yelled, Frigitel! When the hull started heating with the burner re-entry, Grum released a howl of panic. His own skin became light green, almost mint. Okay, I'm on it! Slithering to the opposite side of the control panel, he activated the ship's unique shielding. Frigitel engaged. He magnified its strength and tuned it to refract light. They entered and passed through Earth's atmosphere, zooming toward Alex's car. We'll never reach him in time, said Grum. Then he repeated, this should be interesting. Hathian zipped over to the Prigitel's controls, pushing Grum out of the way. I got this. You need a pilot. Get us as close as possible. As Grum moved to the vessel's controls, Hathian increased and focused the Prigitel. The shield extended from the front of the ship like a thick arm protruding forward. Come on, whispered Hathian, just a little closer. They reached the car with a second to spare. Surrounding it with the extended shield and lifting it off the ground, Alex's forward momentum rapidly ceased. His car stopped less than an inch away from the oak. Grum kept the ship several feet above the soft, snow-covered earth. Looking down at the levitating car, his coloring returned to lime green. Well, that was very interesting after all. Hathian breathed a sigh of relief as his own skin hue slowly returned to his usual shade as his panic ebbed. Oh, we did it. Thanks, Grum. Sure. So let's drop him off and get out of here before he catches on. Hathian stared out at the car for a long moment before slowly returning it to Earth. Wiggling his hands above the controls, he caused the Prigitel's beam to cease. As it returned to the main shield, the tiniest of smiles curled Hathian's lips. Okay, said Grum, I'm getting us out of here. Wait, I need to do something first. Hathian reached over and turned off the Prigitel. Grum's eyes widened as his skin turned mint. What have you done? The ship is visible. He can see us. Hathian nodded. He can see us. Chapter 2. Opening his eyes, Alex stared out at the front windshield of the oak tree. What? He turned to look out the side window. A 150-foot long spaceship was hovering several feet above the ground. What? As Alex's heart rate ramped up, he had to run through a checklist in his mind. Not drunk or anything. No gas fumes making me loopy, he thought as he sniffed the air. He looked out the windshield at the oak, nearly touching his front bumper. I didn't hit the tree, so I'm most likely not unconscious. I mean, I suppose I could be dead. Maybe I'm a ghost or something. If I am, I'm going to haunt Monty and Mary something fierce. Looking at himself in the rearview mirror, he opened his blue eyes as wide as he could. He pushed a blonde curl off his forehead. Yeah, no blood. I guess I didn't hit my head. He touched his chest for signs of life, then ran his hand across Tulsa's back. Somehow she would remain sound asleep in his lap. You're taking this well. When he felt a bead of sweat roll down his forehead, he thought, wish I could say the same. The cigar-shaped spaceship looked nothing like any ship he'd seen on a science fiction TV show or movie. At a little over 25 feet wide and 12 feet high, it was easily twice as big as the mobile home trailer he had lived in for several months last year. The entire front of the ship, presumably the cockpit, was one giant curving window, as was the aft section. The rest of the vessel had a sort of gelatinous lime green appearance. In an attempt to slow his rising panic, Alex sucked in a breath, held it for a long moment, and slowly exhaled. It didn't help. Okay, so there's a spaceship over there, and it's apparently made of lime green jello. That material would not have been my first choice. He desperately wanted to touch it just to see what it felt like. Maybe I could throw something at it. I wonder if it would be like sticking a knife into a huge vat of gelatin. Only one way to find out. Looking around his messy car, he located an ink pen lying on the floor. He picked it up, then rolled his window down, a blast of cold air rushing in. Leaning out, he tossed the pen at the flying machine. It bounced off the ship, making a metallic ping before tumbling to the earth. I guess it's not made of jello after all. Taking deep breaths, Grum forced himself to calm down. He hated panicking into bright green, especially his particular shade of panic. Mint, he thought, how utterly embarrassing. Why can't I be tea green like Hathiant? He reobtained his preferred lime hue. Hathiant, you've just made the ship visible to a human. You know that's a big no-no. Yes, Hathiant replied in an equally measured tone. I could tell you it was an accident, but I won't. Okay, I appreciate the honesty. He stared out at Alex. The human's talking to himself. Is that normal behavior? For him, it is. He often does that. When Alex tossed the pen at the ship, Grum said, if he's trying to attack us, that was pretty lame. Or perhaps it's a greeting? Maybe we should throw something back at him. I got a nice rock around here somewhere. Hathiant shook his head. Okay, so what's our next move? Sliding over to the control panel, Hathiant lowered the ship until it rested silently upon the snow-covered ground. Then he moved over to the main entrance. This is our next move, Grum. Alex watched the ship land, his heart doing a wicked John Bonham drum solo in his chest. Before he could react, an opening appeared on the craft near the curved front window. A large green snake-like creature emerged, silhouetted by the vibrant lights from inside the vehicle. It slithered down the short ramp, making a squealing sound as its lower half slid into the snow. Looking back at the ship, it whispered, Grum, this stuff is really cold. Hathiant, get back in here. Turning back toward the car, Hathiant said authoritatively, be not afraid, human. Grum slowly shook his head. Be not afraid, really? Are you now going to tell me come in peace? Take me to your leader, perhaps? Hush. Hathiant extended his arms outward with palms open in what he hoped was a non-threatening gesture. My name is Hathiant. My chatty colleague is Grum. We are Amorphoscenes from the planet Amor. This page there. Okay, we mean you no harm, and we don't care about your leader. True story, said Grum. He seems like a bit of a jerk. How are they speaking English, Alex wondered. Hathiant glanced over his shoulder at Grum before returning his gaze to Alex. You may exit your vehicle. I don't think I want to. In fact, I should be going. After rapidly rolling up the car window, Alex turned to look out the back, slammed the car in reverse, and pushed on the gas pedal. Hathiant morphed into tea green in panic and started waving his arms around. Alex, wait! Don't go! This caught Alex off guard. How could he possibly know my name? Whipping his head back to gape at the alien caused him to pull on the wheel. The car slid sideways, off the road, and into a ditch. Slamming the transmission between forward and reverse caused the Saturn to jostle back and forth, but it would not move more than a couple inches. It did, however, rotate the car so that the headlights illuminated the alien. Alex suppressed a scream as Hathiant's body shimmered in the light. Hathiant moved over the car window and raised one of his two-fingered hands. Alex, please stop. I won't harm you. I promise. Alex stared at the lanky alien, examining his facial features. Though elongated, his face had the same basic features to which Alex could relate. 2 wide eyes, 1 giant nose, and a mouth. Instead of ears, he had 2 quarter-size openings. Slowly, he rolled the window back down. Why are you here? What do you want with me? How do you know my name? Valid questions all, he replied softly, and I will answer them. However, can we please go inside my ship? This frozen precipitation is numbing my lower appendage. Your lower... Looking down, he had a much closer view of the creature's bottom half. Alex noticed that the alien's entire body was one long piece, as if someone took a huge thick python and bent it so that around half was on the ground, with the remainder jutting upward. He also realized that, up close, the color of Hathiant's body appeared to be changing from green to a pale blue. Is that my imagination, or are you turning blue? A quiver ran through Hathiant's body, from his tail section up through the bend and out the top of his head. I am. My species is not built for colder climates. He paused for just a moment. Alex, I am offering you a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We have a space vessel with plenty of room. How would you like to see your planet from space? Or visit your moon? Or one of your solar system's planets? Alex's mouth dropped open. Your offering me a ride on your ship? Hathiant said, I am. Why? Alex didn't have a straight answer to that question. He couldn't tell him the truth, though he badly wished he could blurt it out. After a moment's hesitation, he shifted from light blue to army green. I've been studying your planet for several trips around your yellow star. I believe you call them years, over 10 of them. In that time, I've noticed you, Alex Dandridge. You lost your parents when you were young. You had a difficult upbringing, and it has not improved since the age of maturity. I know you just lost your employment and your domicile. And your mate, yelled Grum from the hatchway of the ship over 30 feet away. Hathiant rotated his head to stare at Grum for a quick moment, then looked back at Alex. How could he hear us from so far away? Alex asked. Grum smiled. We Amorphosines have exceptional hearing. Yes, that. Hathiant sighed before continuing. We know your life has been particularly challenging. Consider this a respite from that life, a vacation from reality. Alex stared at the alien for several seconds, with so many thoughts racing through his mind. He had numerous questions, but one came to the surface first. Are you trying to abduct me? Pulling back from the window, Alex replied, or crap, I'm sorry. Athian's coloring flashed from tea green before the cold again overwhelmed him and blue took over. Why would we do that? Pulling back from the window, Alex replied, oh, I've seen plenty of stuff on TV about this. Those gray Roswell aliens take unsuspecting humans, do all sorts of unspeakable experiments on them, anal probes and whatnot, then dump them back on Earth. Perhaps you do the same. At the mention of the Greys, Hathian again shifted to tea green. We're not affiliated with the Cesarol. We don't condone that type of behavior. We hate those creepy little weirdos, added Grum. Alex jabbed a finger toward Hathian. Aha! So our Oswald Greys are real. They snatch people and they cram stuff up their bums. I knew it. I don't know anything about the actual experiments they perform. Yes, the Cesarals do exist, but as I said, we refuse to do business with them anymore, he thought. Besides, what do you think we can learn by pairing up your rear end anyway? Asked Grum. Turning to Grum, Hathian waved an arm in a silencing gesture before turning back to the human. Look, Alex, I'm nearly numb now, so let me say this quick and clear. We are not abducting you. We are inviting you on board. Grum shook his head. I'm not inviting you. Okay, I am welcoming you to come aboard our vessel. We won't harm you. We won't stick things up your anal cavity. You got that right, said Grum. Your nose maybe, but definitely not your butt. What? Alex's eyes widened. He's joking. I simply feel sorry for you, for your plight. If you'd like to take me up on this offer, I will show you things few humans have ever seen. If you choose not to go, we will leave and you'll never see us again. The choice is yours. Hathian turned and started slithering toward their ship. Without turning back, he called out, we will wait 5 of your minutes. Either come aboard soon or we will embark without you. Leaving Alex with his head spinning, Hathian slid up the ramp and into the ship.
Well done. That's goofy. That's super fun. So you said that you've had this idea swimming around in your head for a while. What was the germination point for this? What got you thinking about this particular story way back when?
Well, being 30 years, it's hard to say for sure, but my brain has always been this what if thing. So all of my stories seem to be something's happening in my life, and I go, well, what if this would have happened instead? In my early days, I missed the endings of so many movies and TV shows because my brain would be writing a story. Things are playing. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what's going on there. This one here, I suspect I was driving home probably from some party late at night out at, the DeWitt area is where I'm envisioning this. Off in the middle of nowhere. And I probably looked up in the sky and thought, well, wouldn't it be weird? Because it's like there's no one around here. An alien ship could land right over there. No one else would see it. It's like, oh, an alien ship. Oh, I wonder about that. And my brain just started thinking, what would that story be like? And
that was the end of that. And then a story happened.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you actually started to sit down to seriously put pen to paper and really write this book, how long did it take?
So this current, because I did this version, I did start from the beginning and wrote it all the way. The writing itself was probably 2 or 3 months. Well, the problem I had with this one is that I started writing it in the early part of 2021, And then my mom passed away Valentine's Day 2021, and I just couldn't bring myself back to the story. So I didn't write it again until probably November or December of that year. So I
Okay.
think the amount of time writing it was probably 3 months, maybe, and then editing a few months and rewriting and re-editing and blah blah blah. But yeah, I think the main writing probably took between 2 and 3 months.
That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What fun. I'm excited to read it. While you were reading, I added it to my TBR pile. So thank
Hey,
you ever so much for coming on the program and reading aloud to me. I'm just like a 6-year-old. I love it when people read out loud. So
well,
much
thank
fun.
you for having me. This is a lot of fun.
It's a
Appreciate it.
lot of fun. I'm so glad. And I hope you'll come back and read for us again.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you again another time. Thank you.
Thanks.